I want what you have, because there is a excellence, there is a beauty, and there is a stamina to go the distance. And there is an exclusivity that lives there that I want access to. And so at the end of the day, like, be the G-Wagon. Be the G-Wagon, because the message can be the same, but coming from a different mouth, it means something different.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to my show. This is Unveiling Journeys, and my name is Tiffany Alexander, and I have an amazing guest for you today. And of course, through the power of referrals is where I meet all the amazing people that I get to interview. Let me just tell you a little bit about how and why the podcast was born. I love networking. I didn't find that out until a few years ago. I'd really kind of been networking, but not with intention of growing a business, just to get to know people. And whenever you get and you put someone on your calendar and you sit down with sincere interest to be able to listen to them, you're like, hey, who are you? What are you up to? Who do you need to know? You can also ask them, hey, this is what I'm all about. Who do you know that I need to know? Right? Like, you can share and swap people. And some of the people are just so darn cool. I cannot contain their amazingness. And I have to share with the world who they are. And the podcast is really born of that, because I want you guys to know all the guests that I have. And I want you to go follow them. And I want you to hear their story and their impact that they're making right now. So with that, I want to introduce you to my amazing guests. We have incredible things that we're going to be talking about today. So listen in and don't forget to forward this and rewatch it and hear about all the amazing stuff that Justine is up to. With that, welcome. Justine, tell me a little bit about who you are and what you're up to right now.
So good to be here, Tiffany. Thank you for having me. It's, I like to call this a really active season of my life. I think over the course of the last 12 months, I've spoken about 87 times in 14 different countries. And I've got two businesses that I have the pleasure of stewarding. One focused on high capacity leaders, and helping them step into a higher degree of health so that they can have the capacity to do what their calling is at a greater level. And that's called ownitcoaching.com. And then when that same mission and calling was put forth, there was really just a desire to go and do the same thing in the church. And so what we created was Holy Health, which exists to redeem the health of God's people, that lives literally in the church, just like Financial Peace University does, to be done in small groups. And so Own It has a team of just north of 50 people, touching thousands of entrepreneurs around and business owners around the country. And Holy Health, we just built up to a team of 3 that is actually in about 700 different churches and around the country. And we've got tens of thousands of people rolling through that. And so it's just been a beautiful season, while at the same time stewarding a family here at home down here in Miami. And it's been really beautiful just to see how everything has integrated. And I think sometimes when people step into the calling that they've been created for, it is truly this life abundant, or life abundantly, or life abundance that you are able to then realize. And I think that's just the beautiful season that I find myself in. My wife and I literally were talking about that last night as we were having dinner. We were like, what are you grateful for? And we both looked at each other and almost at the same time just said, the season of life we're in, it just feels so beautiful, from not only a business standpoint, a ministry standpoint, but a family standpoint. And it's been really awesome, just looking at the highs and lows that we've come through, and the things that we've obediently stepped into, and most importantly, seeing the impact that we're having, not just on thousands and tens of thousands of people, but the generational ripple effect that has when you start to deal with somebody's health mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and doing it in a very personalized way, and really disrupting an industry that has needed a disruption for a long time.
Well, this is so good. I love your heart behind this. I love your calling on this and listening to that, because quite honestly, people have a calling that they don't listen to. So the fact that you're here in the time and the place and the blessing on everything that you're doing, this is needed so bad. This is need. I'm in California and we're healthy people, but we're unhealthy people in a lot of different ways, So I'm like, please, who can I tell about all of this? So this is obviously going to be reposted everywhere I possibly can on all my social media. But um, I want to hear your whole story behind all this, because the journey in all of this is really a part of the fun, how you got here and whatnot too. So let's start from the beginning. Like, where are you from? And what did you even go to school for this? Like, how does this start in the whole process of the beginning?
So I wouldn't necessarily say it was a fun journey, but it was a necessary journey. And I say that in I think a lot of people's journeys to what they're doing, and especially if it's something that's successful and something that's having an impact. I was born and raised in Edmonton, up in Northwest Canada, and I had always just known that I was a extremely athletic kid. Athletics came easy to me. I was passionate about them. I loved them. Growing up in Canada, hockey is a culture. And so I knew I wanted to be an NHL athlete. That's what I wanted to be, hockey player through and through. That was what I was sold out for. And as I was growing up, I was a fat kid. I was teased. I was made fun of. And that was really kind of the thing that just became my identity, was the fat kid, the fat kid, the fat kid. And at 14 years old, I still remember that summer. It was my draft year. And I hit a growth spurt, started to train a little bit more intentionally. And lo and behold, I transformed over the course of that summer. And when I came back in that fall, it was really the first time that I ever really felt what fear felt like. And I say that statement simply because as I walked into the locker room for the first time, there was people I'd played with for years that had to almost do double takes at me. Parents walking through were like, "Oh my gosh, Justin, you look spectacular!" Like I didn't look good before. And it was the first time I say I felt fear, because I had a fear of going back to what I once was. And fast forward the next 2 years, I became obsessive about what I ate. I became compulsive about certain exercise regimens, food restrictions. Had to sleep naked and in cold rooms, because that's how you burn more calories. I only allowed myself to have cold showers. I had to run up and down the stairs 5 times before I could sit and eat a meal. If I ate a meal, I had to do 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, and 20 pull-ups before I was able to move on to anything new. And so it became this obsession in a very unhealthy way, specifically because I didn't want to go back. So the fat kid became the anorexic kid. And that anorexic kid ultimately suffered liver and kidney failure at 16 years old. Was fed through a feeding tube, put into an eating disorder clinic, was only allowed to leave in order to go play hockey. And the thing about that was, I think we see this in our lives in a lot of different ways, is labels are put on you that you never really take to. And so I was seen as the anorexic kid, and by all the therapists and doctors, I was the problem to solve, not the human being to understand. And I was blessed that I had a couple coaches in my life that just were able to really help change the way I thought about things. And at 19, was blessed to come down to the States on a hockey scholarship. And as I was looking for my school that I was going to commit to, I knew I wanted 2 things. One, I wanted to make sure that I could play hockey and continue my march towards that goal. But secondarily, that I could ultimately answer the question, not how do you fix something in health, but rather, why is it happening? So I wanted to go down the road of health and exercise science and nutrition and psychology and all of these components. And so I did 2 undergraduate degrees in exercise science and nutrition, did a master's degree in exercise physiology, and then I did my postgraduate doctoral research in cellular biology, and before I got into alternative medicine. And I say all of that to say that I started to see this body as a holistic integration: mental, physical, spiritual, emotional. They are not separated. They are all one, that create the wholeness of what we walk in, which is what we call health. And now there is a very cellular component that comes to this, as to like, what do we need at the genetic and epigenetic levels? What do our cells require from certain things we're putting into our body? But there's also a very basic habit, behavior, and life rhythm component that exists to this. And so even though I didn't make it to the NHL as a player, I was blessed to step into the NHL as a director of health and performance at 26 years old,
Wow.
and was able to bring a lot of this new thought process to this place. And as with anything, as you start to find success, as you start to find a new way and you disrupt the industry, as we did in 2007, 2008, when I first stepped in to the league, uh, data and personalization and health and performance was not at the forefront. It was like you just work harder to get more done. And when the player's burnt out and they're exhausted and they're hurt and they're injured, next guy up. That's what we look at and that's what we see. And so I brought a very different approach as to how do we actually create proactive recovery? How do we create personalized approaches to health? And lo and behold, what we see, injury rates went down, sickness rates went down. When somebody got injured, they got back to play faster. Athletes whose careers were going down at 29, 30, 31 started to see increases at 31, 32, 33. And I started to write books. I started to travel around the world speaking. I started businesses, all while still holding this position in the National Hockey League, and then started family. And I think, as a lot of us business owners can attest to, this is not an uncommon journey. Is as success starts to happen, responsibility increases, and who do we look after last as ourselves? And so at 33 years old, I started to have symptoms that anybody else would have. I had headaches that wouldn't go away. I had body pains that were just coming from out of nowhere. I'd eat something. I'd spend 4 hours in the bathroom. And it was like everybody said that this was normal and that I was just stressed and I was doing too much and I needed to rest. And I was like, something's not right with my body. And I had this epiphany of what if I actually treated myself the same way I did my athletes? And suddenly we found 4 precancerous polyps in my colon and a bleeding cancerous ulcer in my stomach. And I was told I wouldn't see 35. And so I say that whole story to simply give you the understanding that I had gone through all the experience, all the education, all of the things, and all to get to the point where I think God wanted me to realize that, hey, it's not about serving others first. It's about how do we ultimately get you the faith that actually cells can heal, cells can regenerate. And when you heal the cell, the body heals itself. And 14 months later, I had a clean bill of health.
Wow.
And left the NHL and started Own It, and with the intention to heal the health of the leader, the business owner, the entrepreneur, so that they can have a capacity to carry the calling that's on their lives in a way that is different from how they're doing it today. And when all of a sudden we start to do this over and over, we start to live a life by design, we start to focus on things in a different way, we go right back to the same way that the same disruption that we're doing today that we were doing back in 2007 in the NHL, but now in the business sector. Because in the business sector, the belief and the mindset is, hey, I'm just going to continue to push. I'm just going to continue to build. I'm just going to continue to go. And then when I go down, I guess it's next person up. And they're just going to now ultimately go and step in and do something different. Or I'm going to have some type of crisis that now I have to figure out where to go. But how do we do that proactively? How do we do that in a much more uh, personalized way that is in alignment with how we were created? And now with Own It, we've integrated your entire team. So you've got your functional doc, your strength coach, your nutritionist, and your cognitive behavioral therapist that all comes alongside of you, looks at all of the deep intrinsic cellular DNA epigenetic testing, but then more importantly, builds the plan and disciples you through that process over the course of a year so that you actually don't have to do less, but you actually do more in a much healthier way so we can live longer, lead well, and ultimately leave a legacy that matters.
So many good components to all of that to like get you back around to here. This is incredible. Whenever you had that 14-month journey to go on your own, was this something you were like, I have to, or is this like you birthed out? Like, was there nervousness leaving like this steady job that you had to go create your own thing?
Yeah, so I think the 14 months, I was still working in the NHL. I was just living in a different way. I was having a different life rhythm from when I woke up to when I go to bed, how I managed my rest versus my work, how I trained, how I ate, how I uh, taking alcohol out of my life, putting different nutritional components in, basically allowing myself to get on different morning routines and night routines, giving myself very intentional supplementation requirements based upon what my body was asking for and what it needed. And so I got very I got very personalized, but also very proactive in a lot of the things I was doing. And like I said, lo and behold, my body healed just the way it's designed to do. At the end of the day, we each have 30 trillion cells inside of our body. 500 million of those become brand new every 84 days. That means every 5 to 7 years, you, me, and everybody listening to this becomes a brand new cellular human being. But thus, we have to have our actions and our behaviors daily supporting the environment that those cells are coming into. So either your cells are coming into an environment that's toxic, deoxygenated, and nutrient depleted, or it's coming to an environment that is oxygen rich, nutrient rich, and full of toxin elimination support. And so depending on whether it's A or whether it's B will determine whether you age or whether you continue to feel great. And so I had to just become to partner with the latter so that I could actually heal and do what the body was created to do. Now, when I left the NHL 14 months later to start Own It, of course, there was this like dang moment, probably 3 weeks in, going, I just left the only thing I ever wanted to do. I left my identity back there because my worth is tied up in what I did in the 3-letter league that was on my chest. And it required me becoming somebody new. And I think a lot of times we forget as business owners that identity and understanding who you are and the deep work is a continuous job that never ends. It only changes in size and requirement of need because it's just going to send you into a new season. The person that I was at 22 now has more responsibilities at 27, will have more responsibilities at 35, and continues to have more responsibilities at 41. And so that's only going to continue to keep growing and changing and escalating as I get older and as more responsibilities come along my way. But it's my responsibility to continue to evolve into the human being, into the man that's able to carry the responsibilities and the calling well, rather than just simply going along with what I defaulted to 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 plus years ago. And I like to say it this way, is every behavior or every habit that we have is simply a vote on the future person that you want to become. And many of us don't have a clear picture of who that future person is. We just know what it is that we want to create and the feeling in which we want to experience. And because of that, we try to shortcut it. We try to get around it. We try to circumvent it. And the disciplines in our life become the goal rather than becoming the path to the goal, which is actually shaping us into that person that can sustain and handle the goodness that comes with that new season.
Mm. This is so good. I love this stuff so much. Whenever we got a chance to meet and then talk about this for what we're going to go over the show, I was like, this means so much to so many people. And I want you to keep growing like tremendously in what it is you're doing because of the wholeness ability. You're not just like, all right, let's set a few goals and like hopefully go make it, right? To be able to address all these different aspects of it and bring it into the spiritual side of it too, that people are like, oh, I'm just going to go to the gym or I'm just maybe going to eat right. You know, I appreciate how you've been able to come full circle with making this your multiple companies now that are working on this and growing exponentially for this. When you continue to keep doing all this though, this is like a lot of work. You keep showing up like over and over again and you put in your long hours and there's a sacrifice that still got to be made and continues to be made. Like, why do you keep showing up to do this?
I mean, that's just my calling. It's a fuel from the inside. I call it. I think a lot of people, they build things based on what they can get. We've built things based on how we can give. And at the end of the day, a lot of people are like, I want to get the house, I want to get the car, I want to get the status, I want to get the notoriety, I want to get the vacations. Cool, you'll get all those. You will, because you're driven, you're motivated, and it's a push to get there. But there's going to be a lot of things that you realize once you get there is that the tower is empty. The heart is unfulfilled. I call that time in my NHL career my greatest failure. It was huge amounts of success without an ounce of fulfillment. And
Wow.
today, when you operate from a sense of how much can you give, you're able to operate from a completely different life source, a completely different identity space. It's no longer about what can I get, but it's what can I give. And at the end of the day, because we've given so much, I've got more than I could ever want.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty. It's this inverse paradigm, this paradoxical approach that people are just unaware of. And God's just given me such an amazing journey, but also just a story that comes alongside of it that we get to now help people in a unique way. And showing up every single day is not a chore. It's not something that I have to talk myself into. It's something that I get to do this. I get to do this every day. I'm blessed to do this every day. I get to lead a team of 50 people. I'm blessed to steward a calling that's touching tens of thousands of people. I'm blessed to go and travel 10 times a month sometimes to go different places and get this message out to people. I'm blessed to be on 7 podcasts in a week because people are interested in learning more about this. Like I'm blessed to do each one of these things. Nothing is ever I have to. If it's an I have to then sit back and look at, is this worth doing? Is this aligned with where I'm called to go? And the goal that I set forth all the time is that every single thing on my calendar, every single other thing that I do every single day comes from a heart posture of I get to or I'm blessed to. And if I'm able to operate from that, then it transforms and changes the way in which I show up. And that's a life that we're building. I say we're because it's my wife, it's my family, it's our team. That is the life that we are building for not just us as a leadership team, but for everybody that works with us. That's why our culture is what it is. That's why if we, like, at the end of the day, I stepped out of the CEO seat a long time ago. I hold a founder role, and my sole role is casting vision, building leadership within our company, and being the voice of the mission, writing books, doing workshops, doing podcasts, and kind of being the face. And when I say that because that is my calling. That is what I love to do. And so that's why I show up every day, because it is my responsibility. I've been given a certain burden by the Lord and kind of what he's called me through. He's walked me through certain seasons, and the burden that I get to be blessed to carry ultimately becomes the breakthrough for a lot of other people.
Oh, yeah. I think the ripple that you're making is vast and incredible and needed so bad. And some people don't even know that they need it yet. They're only going to find out that they need you when it's right. Like we're playing the game of like, oh, now I need help because now I'm facing a repercussion of my poor health and poor choices. Whereas
Sure.
like I hope to see the shift in us as a human species of like, well, what if I got ahead of all of this, right? Instead of just dealing with the symptom, let's find the root cause and let's change that. This is so good. Tell me, what is your favorite way for people to come find you? Because they need to follow your work, but also you are available for speaking opportunities and for churches to come and have like support and the structure that you provide. What are those places they can go look you up?
Yeah, so super easy. Ownitcoaching.com is where you can go. You can inquire about everything from me speaking to your organization. You can be speaking to your team, speaking to your church. You can go and find all our coaching offerings there, and grab a call with a member of our team to be able to figure out, hey, is this for me? Is this something that can align with me? But ownitcoaching.com. And then if you're a pastor or a small group leader or somebody in the church who's wanting to know more about the Holy Health mission, you can go to holyhealth.org. And lastly, I'm super active on Instagram. It's the only social media platform that I control directly myself. That I post everything. I communicate in the chats and in the messaging sequence. So at Justine Roeth, at Justine Roeth is where you can find me there, if you're wanting to know more. And that's when you can jump into the ecosystem. So we've got everything from books to podcasts to content, you name it. But ownitcoaching.com or holyhealth.org are going to be your best landing spots.
Perfect. And if you guys are listening to this while you're driving, it's in the show notes or shoot me a message. I'll get you all connected so that way you can come find him. Um, I want to ask, we've done so much. Your journey's phenomenal and your mission is like right on target. I love being able to hear all this. What is next? Like what's on the horizon for you?
I think it's funny, right? I was at an event the other day, and somebody asked me that same question, and I almost got triggered in a way. They're like, what's next? Because I just kind of told them everything. I was like, what's next? Like, I'm just stewarding what the blessings I've got right now. Like, I'm raising a family. I've got an amazing marriage that I'm trying to just continue to be the best husband and the best man that I can be. And I've got a team of 50 that we're continuing to steward in an amazing way, in an excellent way, so that they're leading with excellence and ownership and creating this level and this culture of integrity and honesty that creates trust within everybody that we serve, that makes sure that every single person, we have this thing that we say internally is that we just care more, and care is create a rare experience. And so it's like this is that we've got another ministry that we're building and multiplying. And so I always say, like, what's next? Just continuing to keep walking in what we're doing and making sure that we steward it and we pay attention to it in the best way possible. I think one of the things in our culture is we're always looking at what's next rather than stewarding what we've been given. And so many of us forego what we have now for a hope of what might come tomorrow. And oftentimes what happens with that is you see this so often in businesses, you see it oftentimes in culture, is somebody gets so fixated on where they want to go. That doesn't mean don't have vision. Have vision, have big vision, have bigger vision than you even think if you have big vision. But my goodness, never take your eye off of where you exactly are and being willing to steward what you've given, because every single person we have in our ecosystem, tens of thousands of people, have made a vote with their wallet, have made a vote with their income, have made a vote that they trust us, that they want us, and that they are relying on us to get them from where they are to where they desire to go. And so I will never take that for granted, that is something that we are focusing on through and through. And when we say, hey, what's next? We're just going to continue to keep growing the mission and the assignment that we've been blessed to steward and walk alongside, so that we can continue to touch those that need us most.
I love that. Diligently steadfast on exactly what you're handed and doing so well with it. Well, it's incredible.
Amen.
Let's do this. I want to ask you, what should we wrap up with? Like, what is you've had so many good, amazing pieces of advice that you've given out for here. And I know you probably have a ton more and everything that we could go into a whole session, right? But like, what should we wrap up today with? Maybe your one-liners or nuggets of wisdom we should leave with everyone.
I think at the end of the day, people have to realize that you were created to heal, designed to thrive, but you have to live in alignment with how you were created. I talked about how at the cellular level, we're constantly becoming brand new, not just like renewed or restored, but the cells are literally becoming brand spanking new. And I want to make sure that the environment that my new cells are coming into is one in which I can thrive. Because I was driving down the highway the other day, and I saw these two, you don't have to share the beliefs that I share, but I think the picture and the imagery will reflect this. I was driving down the road, and they both had the same sticker on the back. It was a very small sticker, and it said just, "I love Jesus." And one was on the back of a beat up Cadillac. It was old and rusty. It was dirty. The windows, you know how you can tell like windows kind of have grime? You can hardly see into them a little bit. And there was a little bit of smoke coming out of the back pipe. And the sticker itself was kind of worn. It had like a heart for like love. And it just looked like something out of a kid's coloring book. And literally right next to it in the other lane was this black, beautiful matte black Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon. And the windows were all tinted out. It was brand newly washed. You could tell it wasn't very old. And on the back of theirs, they had a metal decal or metal decal that had a fish, and then it said Jesus. And I just saw that as just, I think, the most beautiful expression of how we show up. Is that a lot of us think that, hey, I'm running myself ragged, I'm doing all the things, I'm pushing, and I'm doing this, and this is the example of a good, faith-filled person who's doing what they were called to do for the sake of God's calling on my life. And And everyone's looking at you like, man, you're just this old rusted up Cadillac that I'm not sure I want to follow what you're following if that's what the outcome looks like. Where on the other side, you could actually look after yourself in a way that you wake up at a certain time, you go to bed at a certain time, you've got disciplines in your life that are creating this life of excellence, this life of vibrance, this life of vitality, this life of mental clarity, this life of focus, this life of energy, that somebody looks and goes, man, I don't know what you're doing, but I want more of it. I want what you have, because there is a excellence, there is a beauty, and there is a stamina to go the distance. And there is an exclusivity that lives there that I want access to. And so at the end of the day, like, be the G-Wagon. Be the G-Wagon, because the message can be the same, but coming from a different mouth, it means something different.
I appreciate your stance on that. It reminds me of a couple really good things. And it's like, if I want to represent Jesus, I want to be the joy-filled, hope-filled,
Amen.
abundant, not like this worn out, tired, broken. It's like, you're not giving worries to God appropriately. Like let's be the G-Wagon, like be the best that we can. I know we have highs and lows, but that's not like the point of that. This has been awesome. I appreciate you sharing your story and being able to watch you grow into this and be able to see your steadiness and being able to be absolutely using the gifts that you've been given and honoring the blessing that the Lord has given to you and will continue to give to you. And I hope everybody that's listening right now is like taking this in, super, super in, and go and follow him on all of his social media and tell your church about it, right? Like there's a revolution that I believe we're having. There are kids now that are watching us, new generation of kids that need to see what it is that we can do to remain in taking care of ourselves as we get older,
Amen.
right? And I want to represent that for my children, right? And then also represent that for the older generation, right? Like we can be the middle ground for both sides of it as we are. So thank you so much again for your time. I appreciate you coming, and awesome how we got introduced to each other, and I want to tell more people about you. So I look forward to chatting with you again. And then I will see you guys on another episode, and you guys go have a wonderful day, and make sure and go follow Justin and all of his social media, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.